Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines here. Ripple IPO, XRP equals North Star, Ripple buyback, and so much more. Oh, we got it all for you from Swell and everywhere else. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Look at this, $3.41 trillion market cap for crypto, which is off 3.2%. And we're way off from the 4+ trillion that's been in this space. So head on a swivel as Bitcoin now dips back below 100,000, 99,600 plus. Ethereum down to 3,200 plus. XRP number 4 spot is 216 now. Everything is red today as we go into the weekend. And I'm about to find something from somewhere to buy to dip a little bit, not financial advice. We're off 5.2 on the 24, and we're off 13.6 on the 7-day. For reference, Ethereum's off 17% on the 7-day, and Bitcoin's off 9.7. So there you have that. Ranging between 216 and 232, we are on the lower side of things here. Yeah, I'm going to hold on a minute. Let me pause this thing. Okay, now I feel better. Now let's take a look at this really quickly here. This is iTrustCapital, ladies and gentlemen, the best home for crypto, gold, and silver IRAs, and also for the long-term investor, because now they have the PCA account, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, there's staking opportunities on this platform in the IRAs and the PCA. I don't know what you're waiting for here, but if you're looking to get the peace of mind you deserve in this space and start getting the best night's sleep since you've been in crypto, this is designed for long-term investors right here. If you're a day trader, just keep going, keep moving, because this isn't for you. The PCA gives you the same institutional grade custody, and it also gives you all the access to all the assets 24/7, 365 that you could ever want. And let me tell you right now, this is such an exciting product, because if you were to be hacked from something you did wrong on your side of the responsibility fence, like a SIM card swap, or you clicked on something you shouldn't have, you gave someone information you shouldn't have. The worst thing that could happen here is you go in with your cash and crypto to create the account, trade all day, every day, do the things you need to do. But when you come out, you can only come out as cash, and you can only come out to your US checking account. That's it. So God forbid if you do something wrong on your end, or if I did something wrong on my end, that's the worst thing that would happen. And in a time like this, when attacks are at an all-time high, this is the peace of mind you're looking for. Click the link at the very top of any video that we have and get started today. And according to on-chain data, there's more need for these accounts than we can shake a stick at. Look at this, as the XRP Ledger alone recorded a sharp influx of new addresses over a 2-day span this week. Sentiment reported 21,595 new wallets created in 48 hours. That's the biggest jump in 8 months. People are getting excited. Now, let's take a look at this. Now, you may have seen this clip, but stay with me because of where it's going here. This is Larry Fink talking about dealing with tokenization of digital assets and of real-world assets.
In the U.S., and I think that's going to be the place to have your overweighting for at least the next 18 months, and we'll see how that all plays out then.
You talk to central bankers regularly. What are the biggest concerns today of central bankers about what's going on in the global economy?
I would say the biggest question from central banks is, what is the role of tokenization and digitization? How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset, and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving, ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill-prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that, not unlike how technology is changing AI and other things. It will be changing the technology around the plumbing of finance.
There you have it right there. All the evidence you could ever want. And talking about the plumbing of finance, he even mentioned MasterCard in his little clip there. Ripple partners with MasterCard to introduce real USD credit card settlements on the XRP Ledger. Yeah, write that one down. Yeah, no speculation there. And isn't it funny that we listen to someone like Gary Gensler, good riddance, Gary Gensler, but listen to this clip, and then we're going to talk about Patrick J. Witt from the White House, who was at Swell. Take a listen.
The idea was, can we move something of value on the internet like we move something of information on the internet, packets of data on the internet? Can we move packets of data that represent money? Could we actually get to a place where you could have an internet of value moving money around the globe? Messaging app of Ripple's, and it's competing with SWIFT. To go between Tanzania and Nigeria, you need somebody to bear some counterparty risk that the ledgers both move and are adjusted at the same time. And usually it's a bank that is in both countries. You could use blockchain, but the current thinking is you need a bridge currency in between, and that bridge could be a stable value that's backed by the US dollar or the euro. It could be a currency even like Ripple has an alternative. It's just piloted in May.
So there is Gary Gensler. Obviously, we've looked at that clip before too, but this is going to lead us to where we're going. And what is unfolding, I believe, right in front of us is the Internet of Value. And it is the integration of Ripple and the XRP Ledger and other protocols into our legacy financial system and the governments of the world. Bo Hines is out, and in steps former DARPA advisor. And if you don't know, DARPA is the agency that literally created the internet itself. Back then, they built the rails for information. Now they're laying the rails for value. And lo and behold, Patrick J. Witt's brought in after Bo Hines is out. This isn't just a staffing change. It's positioning one of the architects behind the last global network revolution to help design the next, the Internet of Value. And with XRP now enjoying full U.S. legal clarity, the rails for instant borderless capital flows are ready. All that's left is to turn the switch. And you know what's interesting? We're waiting for the government to come out of a shutdown. And I have speculated, and don't know the answer, but I have speculated, will the U.S. government come back online and be on blockchain? I think it's a great question. And here, I want you to hear just this little part here of Patrick J. Witt from the White House talking with Brad Garlinghouse, and listen to what he says here.
I would just say the future is very bright for this industry, and there are companies that are going to sprout up here in the space that probably aren't even in existence yet. And there's going to be just amazing, efficiencies unlocked. It's going to integrate into the existing financial system. Stable coins are going to proliferate around the globe. So I think you're going to be talking about, market cap into the, tens of trillions, even beyond what it is right now at,
that
4 or 5 trillion. So
that is the crypto chief at the White House. Works directly under David Saxon, the president. That's who that is, who came from DARPA. Now, you tell me what we're watching unfold. Now, here's a conversation that was happened with Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital, who is investing in a lot of things in this space, one of which is Evernorth. I want you to listen to this clip because it's powerful. Regulatory North Star reminder, XRP is the only digital asset with regulatory clarity before legislation. Take a listen.
Panel about 2-3 years ago when you're in the middle of your lawsuit. And the moderator asked something that even I hadn't put together. He said that 19 out of the top 20 protocols in blockchain were physically located outside of the United States of America. And you were the only one, still idiot, to be in the United States and being sued.
I mean, obviously, I don't think we're an idiot, but I mean, there was a period of time, there was a sad reality, and I'm sure, Pantera has been one of the most successful investors in crypto land, but the advice I used to give some of the entrepreneurs you backed was don't incorporate in the United States. And it's not because we're trying to circumvent. I mean, again, you had, I'm quoting Gary Gensler. By the way, now you're getting me riled up. Like, I get all fired up about this. You had Gary Gensler out there pontificating about how the crypto is the Wild West. Like, that is the furthest thing from the truth. Like, the people I knew were trying to give us clear rules, help us understand those rules, and don't just sue us without actually providing that guidance. And so, it took a while, but we're finally in a happier place. And, Ripple was fortunate to be in a position where we could fight the fight. We did think about just moving to offshore and kind of saying, to hell with our U.S. business. For 4 years, and we were still based in the U.S., but during those 4 years, we basically didn't sign any contracts in the U.S., and we signed, scores of contracts with financial institutions overseas. Now, the U.S. is still the regulatory North Star for many Western economies, and so they look to the U.S., and so it hurt our business across Europe, less so in Southeast Asia and the Middle East, but it was a tough years.
And you know what? Let me come in here because, look, I personally have always felt like this lawsuit had to happen because you had to have legal clarity and you had to put it through the legal gauntlet, which is to go through the process of being sued to get the legal clarity. I've made the point many times over the years that, the SEC sued Amazon. Look where they're at. The SEC sued Microsoft. Look where they're at. The SEC sued Tesla. Look where they're at. And the SEC sued Ripple, and look where we're about to go. Right? So for me, this had to happen. And for me, that was Jay Clayton dropping the lawsuit. And then for me, it was Gary Gensler sticking his guns and seeing it through. And while we were going through that, he was squashing and suppressing and suing everyone in the space. That's what we've witnessed. And now we're watching all of these acquisitions. And while we're being sued, as Brad Garlinghouse said here, they went on a spree overseas signing contracts and getting customers. Now, this falls into my macro understanding of XRP isn't money unless everyone in the world agrees that it's money. And if this is a U.S. commissioned operation, as I believe it is, and that's my own belief, well, then how do you convince the world to do it? Well, you tell them the U.S. is going to do it, but we're not doing it until the rest of the world does it. So while you're being sued, you go over and get the rest of the world onto the new system. And then when you get done with the legal case, we get the clarity we need, and then you get the adoption by the United States, and hello, the entire world is using it. That's how I see what's coming. Just like we understand that Ripple secured $500 million at a $40 billion valuation backed by Fortress and Citadel. I ask this as a serious question. Do you really believe that these companies like Fortress and Citadel, huge investment hedge fund companies, Citadel being the most profitable out of anyone, do you think that they would back Ripple and then not use the XRP ledger? They see the advantage of it and then back them and put money behind them, but they're not going to use it themselves? No, of course not. That's not how it works at my house either. And matter of fact, we've even heard Brad talk about further in that conversation in a different clip with Dan Moorhead about how if you want to get the Citadels and the Fortresses of the world, you need to be able to work and integrate this way, right? So this is where we're going. Now, on the front of IPO, let's listen to this because he's asked if Ripple would go public. This is an important question. Take a listen.